Yo, yo, yo. Welcome to the podcast brought to you by the ANOUVUE Collective, where we're going to talk about everything film related, from script to screen and anything else in between. Stay tuned.
Yo, yo, yo. What's up, everybody? This is your boy Denny, and this is the ANOUVUE podcast. Scene. So, welcome, everybody. If it's your first time being here, thank you for coming through. For returning audience, we thank you for engaging with us and coming back each week to check out the different topics, hearing what us creatives in Jamaica have to say about our industry and the industry at large globally. So today, as you can see, we have a couple people here, some new faces, some faces that I've never seen before, some faces that is new to the podcast as well. So before I dive into the topic at hand, I just want to give everybody a chance just to introduce themselves really quickly. First of all, greetings everybody, as I said. My name is Denny. So Andre, go ahead, tell us about yourself in like 10 seconds.
10 seconds. Andre Winter, currently living in Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised in Jamaica, used to work at TVJ, writer, director, producer, cinematographer.
All right, give thanks. Welcome. Marz.
All right. Just feel like when the day of work and them ask everybody for go around and talk some about themselves. Yeah, man, one of the things I hate the most. But
First day of school.
First day of school. Jano. Marz Jackson. I'm just a filmmaker. No need for the specifics, but filmmaker.
Cool. All right, and we have Wentworth.
Oh yeah. So I'm Wentworth. I'm into everything film. Mostly as a cinematographer and then as a post-prod supervisor, and also a very, very keen interest in the science of color, from coding aspect of it to putting stuff, creating tools for colorist and all of that. So yeah, that's really need a quick bite. Yeah.
All right.
Wentworth, the background, the real, it look international.
Oh,
It look international.
yeah. I'm streaming from Gold Coast.
No, mama, no. It does look, it look expensive, is it? But since
We don't have that conversation here.
Jamaica's only, if not only, post-production house.
Oh yeah. We talk about that.
Yes, we will. All right, Randy.
Hey, blessings, bro. Randall Richards. I am a cinematographer, and sometimes I moonlight as a producer and director. But maybe I can just say catch-all filmmaker and overall creative professional, residing in Jamaica. Will travel.
Will travel. All right. And Crush, how are you doing?
Yeah, bro. So, my name is Robert Harriot, but people seem to not call me that.
yo, tilt up.
Robert.
Tilt up your camera. Tilt your camera up.
Robert is driving. Next
Oh.
stop.
That's right, bro. Yeah. Wait. So, yeah, my name is Robert Harriot, director of photography. People want me direct. That's not really my thing, but I do it sometimes. I don't do anything else. I have photography. Well, a bit of photography. But yeah, that's me.
Cool. All right. ANOUVUE Collective, also known as Mark Lecky. Yes, familiar face this. But for people who just are forward, I think give them an introduction.
Yo,
One bonnet rest to the thing.
Global.
yo, I'm just here to press the record button. You see? Skill-wise,
Okay, Tom.
yo, skill-wise, me just work for enough of them money, you see? I just not that. Is it? Mm. As a matter of fact, I've literally worked for everyone here. Actually,
Work with
Kosh on on a commercial, you on a music video couple, Randy on a commercial, and something else. Denny,
music
film,
video.
film. Denny, Kevin,
Yeah.
short film also. I met Marz on a commercial, Sherwin Williams, and Andre, short film. So thank you. None of you have worked for me yet, but one of these days. One of these days.
I mean, technically, that's not true, but man.
All right, Kevin.
I worked as a writer on Fluffy.
All right. That's true.
Anyway, so yeah, I Kevin Jackson. I fashioned myself a writer and director. That's what I mostly like to do, and animation. Outside of that, like Wentworth, love everything film, and sometimes people drag me on set to do other things on set, which I don't mind. But yeah, outside of that, yeah. No relation to Jesse and Jackson, at least not that I know of. We have to go check the family tree and see. But yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I think I have worked with most of the people here on some level. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. All right, for the people who don't know, as I mentioned, Denny, I am a cinematographer and director located in Kingston, Jamaica. I travel as well. So, you don't know, visa up and ready. All right, global chatters and them thing. And if you don't have a visa, I will get one for your country. Shameless plug. All right.
You have space. You have space in your passport, Denny? Your passport have space left?
It's
a new book. Wow.
So we're ready.
All right.
All right. So today, guys, we're going to be talking about the topic of cinematographers versus videographers, and basically who is a cinematographer and who is a videographer, and is there a difference? You know what I mean? Like, is there a requirement that you graduate from one to the next? Is that the truth? So we're gonna unpack all that today. Obviously, all of you guys are cinematographers, directors, writers, and multifaceted in so many areas. And I'm pretty sure that a lot of you guys have background in both areas and continue to work in both areas. So let's just start off by defining both roles. And for me, I'll just start with me. For me, I think that a cinematographer is somebody who basically interprets a story and uses light to express that, as well as the camera and lenses through the cameras and lens choices. Right? In a nutshell, obviously it goes a lot deeper than that. I also think that the cinematographer is leaning a little bit more into the science of storytelling to some degree, versus a videographer who is somebody who, while they may have some level of knowledge about lighting, and you need to know some level of lighting, knowledge of lighting, you primarily focus on capturing in the moment actions, you know what I mean? You're not necessarily developing scripts and so on, versus a cinematographer interpreting a script and then using light to tell that story and to bring the director's vision to life, to support the director. So let me throw this out to Wentworth, because Wentworth, you are a working cinematographer and you are, you work at various levels, and you're at the top of your game right now. So let me just ask you the question, like, what to you is the difference between the two, and why people argue so much over this thing? You know what I mean? Like, tell me your idea.
If you show up in a threads discussion, on a thread on threads, at least if you're in the part where that deals with filmmaking, 5 to 6 out of 10 conversations is dealing with the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened, and the thing is, I think what's happening now is that the whole invention of the content creator is what started this huge rift.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is, my background is really I started off just shooting videos as a videographer back in the day with a PD 170, a VX 200, a silver Sony camera, DV cassette tape, where you have to run off back, you have to play back in a real time, and like you pull out a car. So from them time there, I've been shooting, and the thing is, you just need to pick up the camera and shoot. Because you're just capturing what's happening in the moment. It's a matter of just capturing. So whether for a news story or whether it was for a church function or a funeral or something, you have a camera, you go there, whatever is there, you just shoot it. There's no consideration for anything. It's not no storytelling. You're just capturing in real time what's happening. And if there's a TV outside for the people that watch, that's it. Or if you need to record it to the cassette and then send it to your auntie or friend, because then couldn't make the camera, the funeral or the wedding, then that's what you do. Or in later time, I mean, like at NCU was like one of the first churches in Jamaica to stream their church service back in the day where it's about 2005, but 2004, 2005. So back then we were doing that as well. So, before streaming got popular and all of that. So I came up through that, and then I made a switch over to cinematography, which cinematography is really about problem solving. At the crux of it, it's problem solving, because you have a story and then there's interpretation and stuff. So, but at the same time, the one thing that videography strengthened for me was just how you frame. We start learning about thirds, we start learning about safe line, safe margin, we start talking about IRE, what the IRE is 0 to 100. We're talking about false color, we're talking about the zebra, and all of these stuff. So I learned there was a lot that I could have I took from that world with me into cinematography when I made that transition back in like 2010. I started, getting into shooting film. So there is a difference. There's a line of demarcation, but the thing is, I don't knock. I'll never ever knock the cinematography. I don't think they need to be pitted against each other, because both of them serve their purpose. Because you're going, as I say, you might be covering a funeral and you really don't need a 2-to-1 lighting ratio. You need to light everybody, and we need to see them when the camera go up and down. But then you're shooting a story about somebody who's probably on their deathbed who might need a 2-to-1 ratio. So you understand, but also you might need a close-up when you're shooting a funeral, just for sure that the person is, them sad, you want to show them sad. When you're shooting the person probably dying in a short film, you might need to get a close-up again. So they both have them similarities and they have their strengths, and there's a whole heap of stuff that cross over between them. There's a whole heap of stuff that cross over between them. And one of the things that I love to watch some of CNN and NBC's interviews, because I'm always seeing getting some new ideas for just the level of framing and how you frame for certain things. Because some of these guys are veterans in the field. So, it's one of them. I don't think for the longest while, not longest while. It's a recent thing. I think this standoff thing between a videographer and cinematographer is a new thing. And again, I guess as we go further into the conversation, we can unpack it a little more. But they are different, but they overlap. They do overlap.
All right. Thank you for that. I agree. I do think that both roles overlap, and they basically complement each other as well as some of the skills that you have as a videographer definitely goes with you over into cinematography. But Randy, this question is for you. I want you to tell me, what is the confusion about between both roles? In your opinion, what do you think is the confusion, and what causes the confusion, and the riff, and why people, kind of pit the cinematographers against videographers or vice versa?
All right. The first thing, two things that came to mind, and that's a good question. From my perspective, I think it's ego and I think it's experience. I think people who, and this is my point of view. I think people who are in the videography space, it tends to be much broader expertise, if you want to call it that, at broader levels. So you have people who are just coming into the industry, who are figuring out how to use their cameras, figuring out, the barriers to entry are much lower when you consider the videography space, because you can get to any camera. You're going outside, you're going to shoot a funeral, you're going to shoot a wedding, you're going to shoot anything. The experience and the space in which videographers exist, I think, is much broader. It's a wider gamut of videographers. So you're going to see so many different iterations. The space of cinematography requires a higher level of expertise, whether it's you go school and learn it, or you learn it on set, or you teach yourself through YouTube. It's a very much more narrow field that requires a lot of intention. I think where the two fields collide is that people want to own them craft, even if them say them as you call them a videographer, they still see the value in the work that they do. But when you start to compare apples to maybe what to eat is, people start to have conflict, not because the two things aren't, from the same pool, but just because it's just preference. It's the same people. Reason why we have orange team and green team, blue team and red team, Jamaica versus Trinidad are trying to start a war. But it's like, I think people just like to pick sides and they like to defend their own side because of that ego. I would say briefly that's where I personally see it from. And there might be a little bit of elitism sometimes when it comes to cinematography versus videography, because of the way that we perceive. There is a certain sense of pride, let's call it that, and the same ego space that some cinematographers may have and do not want to be compared to. And to be honest, I can say sometimes, so as someone who's been in both the videography space and the cinematography space, I've felt some of that ways too. When somebody called me, I was shooting a music video earlier this year for a young lady that Denny knows also too, and she made the mistake of calling me a videographer, and she was
I
saying
know
that
what
to
time I said.
no, no. Hold on, no. It was after the production. I think, after production, and she was describing me to somebody and whatever. And I did not correct her because to her, I understood that she couldn't tell the difference. She doesn't know the nuance. We know the nuance. To me, the nuance is important because it felt to me like when I was a photographer and people call, like them see me and they say, yo, picture man, when we're at a wedding, picture man, nah, answer you. They say, me look like picture. Do I look like a picture man to you? And but sometimes it's as I say, it's a ego thing, and I had to humble myself to know that it was not about me at the moment when she was describing that to the person who she's saying that to. It didn't really matter. They understood what I did, even if they didn't understand the depth of what it was. So yeah, so I think that ego, some a lot of times, experience, and just people trying to strike the lines between, because it does matter, I think, in the working world, if you communicate to somebody that you're a videographer versus you say a cinematographer, because whereas a videographer, from my perspective, is more about documentation, while there's some expertise required, a lot of expertise required in videography from all different levels. As a cinematographer, you work with a lot of intent before, during, and after you hit record, and stop. You're going to be working on crafting the story. You're going to visually from all angles, whether it is movement, color, light, texture, and how you bring it out on everything. And then when it goes to the post-production, like, what is the story you're trying to tell using all of these varied tools available? Videography, while it can spill into the cinematographic space, it often doesn't, and it usually requires you to just capture what's going on. So I feel like that's really where people kind of start to delineate the contentions, but I think it's still important that we recognize videography different from cinematography.
Thank you for that. That's a mouthful, but very, 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 very good point. There's something that stood out to me.
Can I follow up on that?
But 1 second. There was a few things that stood out to me, and one of them was about ego, and it begs me to wonder, like, at what point do you, as working cinematographer who
Take your
you
time.
know who see yourself in a certain light, and then people, because of their ignorance, don't know the difference between who is a cinematographer, who is a videographer. When do you actually step in now and educate that person on difference? And do you think it is even necessary to even offer some educational information to them to say, oh, hey, like, videographers do this, or I'm not a videographer, I'm actually a cinematographer, you know what I mean? Like, is it just an ego thing, or should you actually respond and educate somebody in the moment? You know what I mean? Anybody can answer that question, but before we answer that question, I know Wentworth will answer.
No more, more
Andre.
step. Go on.
All right, so Andre, is your point further away from that question?
No, but no, it's there. It's a little bit
All
different
right, so
from the
so
question,
so before
but
okay, all right, so you can go ahead
I
and
can
answer,
answer that.
and then we'll get responses from everybody about that, and then I'll take a question or your response.
Right. So with that, it's a good point, and I feel like maybe we all have that experience, where a client might not know the difference, and that's how they treat you. So, I'm in the industry. If people know what a cinematographer, I don't have to tell them or have that discussion. But you have people who don't know, so you have to, in your sales, because it is sales. When somebody contact you, you wanna,
Mhm.
what do you do? What's your rate? Blah blah blah. You have to tell them what value do you bring. So you have to position yourself to say, hey, I am not a videographer, I'm a cinematographer, and I bring these things to the job. Um, so I think that's where it is, because you're gonna have a lot of people. I've had an instance earlier this year where I was shooting a feature. I thought this was somebody the producer, and who was a producer director, who knew the difference and had experience, because he talked up that he done all of this. But I realized on day one,
Mhm.
this guy don't really know as much as I had I'd thought, and he was talking, and at day one, I said to him, "Hey, we're not moving fast enough. Here's some of my suggestions. And we need an extra person in G&E. We need to cut down on the amount of takes. We're going to have to do a lot more one-ers or longer takes, and that is a cinematographer, because a cinematographer, as I continue what Randy had said, is actually is not even an HOD, it's a creative. So cinematographer, director, producer, they're above the line. So, and a lot of people don't know, the head of, in film, the head of the camera department is the first AC, not the cinematographer. Cinematographer is a creative, because we are included from bringing the director's vision, color, how it's going to be shot. Is it sticks, lots of sticks, camera movements, blah blah blah, all the way to post. So you're a creative, you're not even the head of the department, so you add more value than a videographer that shows up and just is told what to do. So go back to this story where this guy, at the end of day one, I'm telling him, hey, for you to make your days, these are what you have to do, the changes you have to make. Tell him, need additional people in G&E, whatever, whatever, whatever. And then day two, they bring in a second camera. Didn't have a discussion with me. I'm shooting on the Komodo. The person who has a second camera doesn't have sticks. He's shooting on a Ronin with a Black Magic, different lens. So, and nobody says anything to me. This is day one, day two. For weird thing, the sound guy turns to me and was like, "Hey, will the two cameras match?" And I said, "Of course not." But
Right.
nobody asked me that. So it's as a creative, in that department, you'd lay out these stuff. So if anybody had asked me, I'd say, hey, don't bring a second camera that's a Black Magic, because you're not going to match, or you're going to have trouble in post. And with he having a zoom lens and I'm using primes, so you definitely, so like I don't think a lot of people think that. And so the delineation is, I was even thinking about cinematographer, videographer, and cam up. So cinematographer, you're the head of, you control everything. You're head of lighting, you're head of camera. Videographer, more like a one man band, you're doing your own thing. And then a cam up is your response to the director and the cinematographer.
Thank you for that. Very, 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 very important points there. And I think, even as we talk about educating people, I also think that in this is the reason why pre-production is important, because these are things that would come up in pre-production. Like, why would you show up to set with a completely different camera that we didn't discuss and see how that would even contribute to the project? You get me? I say? So I think that one, educating people about the role and what comes with the role and the difference as well, because even in my own personal, um, you know, business life, I've been approached for both sides of the coin, you know what I mean, for jobs. So I get videography jobs from time to time, and I get cinematography jobs from time to time. And there is a difference. And I think that it is definitely on me to let the client know that these two things are different, because the reality is sometimes they expect cinematography work on a videography job. Right?
So now that more say come, and that's why I was thinking about what Andrew is saying. Andrew is saying is because a lot of people they want videographers, and they will put in a job description looking for a cinematographer with their own gear. The moment you say with your own gear, I already know you're really not looking for a cinematographer. You can be,
You want a videographer.
but when you start looking at the job description, you're like, nah, you're looking for a videographer. Like one of them, I get them earlier this year. It's not like we wouldn't do it, but we just never have the gear set up for it. And my happy say I never have the gear set up for it. So I can always say, I can't do it, right? But a lot of the times I have to do the same thing where I go, yo, this is a videographer job. If you want a videographer, I got a few friends that I can contact for you. And you know what I mean? You know the game set, right? But I think it's also a pay thing too. Anytime people hear videographer, they think you're cheap, or they think you come cheap.
Absolutely.
Not that you're cheap, you come cheap, right? So I believe like you have to sometimes just go, I'm a cinematographer. I can do this and this, but I'm a cinematographer first of all. If you're looking for somebody with a do videography, that person can do that for you. Like, if you guys know him, Dale Elliott, him linked me the other day and him say, yo, more somebody can follow me around and do this and this and shoot this for me. I'm gonna vlog them. I'm gonna say, all right, I have somebody for you. I'm gonna call one of my brethren them and them link and them I gonna start work together. And my friend is a cinematographer too, but I'm gonna tell him straight what the job was. And him know say him in himself him don't care for it, but him say easy money, so him will just do it. But me no want, but I don't want to come out of my shell just to go run round. As a matter of fact, I've shot a short film with a director, and the director said to me, yo, Lecky, I'll work with you on a film anytime, but a documentary? No. Because my brain just not think for run and gun, bro. If I'm gonna run and gun, I have to know I am going to run and gun. And I've done it before recently, last year, like my run and gun a whole shoot, right? But me know said that was the plan, was to do that type of shooting. But out of the blues, get up and let's go shoot. What am I shooting? I'm a videographer, but I'm not a videographer, I'm a cinematographer. And brain space, it's the worst thing for a cinematographer or for somebody that is very planned oriented. You know what I mean? For tell them, say, oh, you're just gonna what am I shooting, bro?
So then, in other words, you have to be intentional, or cinematography is a more intentional job. You know what I mean? Wentworth, you had something you wanted to say earlier. I don't know if you still remember.
It was to the question. Yeah, it was based on what you asked. You asked a question. I was trying to remember.
Oh, about educating people. Like, at what point do you actually say to somebody, "Hey, like, you know what I mean? Like, not from an ego perspective, but just to offer them some education so that they can be informed, and even if, because the truth of the matter is, what if at the time when, the client that Randy was working with, who introduced him to somebody and she introduced him as a videographer, what if that person wanted to hire him? You know what I mean? And he did not say at the moment, I'm not a videographer, I'm a cinematographer, and this is what I do. You know what I mean? Then, say, maybe they must say, all right, me have a wedding, you can shoot this, or, you know what I mean? Or me have a red stripe event and we don't want you come do some coverage, you know what I mean, and put out a reel, like, you know what I mean? So that's basically what I was asking. At what point do you educate, not from a place of ego, but just to inform?
Yeah. All right. So the first thing I establish is we have to just be honest with ourselves. The level where we're at, people we're natives of Jamaica, all of us. Andre and Lecky, they're living in the States, but all of us here are natives of Jamaica. And the truth is we have been working our way through different levels just to get to a point where you're not mistaken for who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And I bring that up because one of the biggest issues is just education, a lack of education on the arts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You understand? Like, some people feel like every person will paint, them just use oil paint, then but you have people who color paint with watercolor and stuff. And so it's the same thing. Once you pick up a camera and it have a record light on it, add a video man that.
Yes, man.
So, and you have to, and without ego, you have to take charge. We have to take charge of that because now it's a different era. We have to educate people.
Mm-hmm.
So my parents, them never know me. I do either. I have to say I'm a cinematographer, man. My mother have to go pick up and go Google what a cinematographer is. And
but you know what the best thing for tell them sometime when people don't get it, just say, "Me's a cameraman." Cameraman, them accept it. No, them accept it easier because it easier for connect in some people brain as a cameraman.
Yeah.
Cameraman.
But it doesn't serve you.
But if you're gonna approach it from the aspect of education, you can't say cameraman.
You can't say cameraman. So that's my thing.
I will. For me personally, it does not affect me if them say, what you say,
Video man,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. It don't bother me, right?
Mm.
When I was much younger and I was doing photography and then would I say picture man, I'd have been so flamed. But like after a while, I just realized, say, them just don't know and they don't care to know. So even if you say, I'm a photographer, they don't care. Just take a picture, man.
Yeah.
And move on. You see me? So now, like, exactly. So me personally,
right.
I've never been in a situation where somebody look at me and say, video man, Ray. I don't think I've been in that situation, but I think if it did happen, I would not say I'm a cinematographer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's simply because they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're trying to feed them when they don't want to be fed.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's somebody who seem like they care, I would give them the information. I would.
So that's what I was going to come to. So the capacity to understand is also something you have to take into consideration.
True.
So
Exactly.
yeah, me depend of cartel shoot and I'm like, yo, see video man over there, so yo, kick. And you're just like, bro, me can't tell the boss him all them show every day at Gaza. Say, me a cinematographer, them brother, me don't know them are gonna massacre that. And that no matter to them. So from that level, I understand. However, if if me in a space where we're shooting a commercial and let's say a brand manager is there and you're going to talk about the video man or the cameraman, wherever go, then let's fix that. You need to know exactly what you say because education is important. Just like going on the hospital and see somebody operate on somebody and call him one teacher. You won't do that.
Nurse.
That's a surgeon.
A doctor, a nurse, or a surgeon, a nurse.
Are calling them a surgeon. So you have to kind of put some respect on it, but at the same time, because at the same time, we also have to be like Crusher say. I may not come to that, but I'm glad Crusher bring it up. You have to just kind of understand the mere fact that we decide to become cinematographer is a whole science of itself, which means that we're smart enough we can decipher who deserves this information versus who doesn't.
Absolutely.
But the more people we can help to influence so them get it right, we try to. So should it matter? To a degree, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you just don't know who is in the space at any one time, and people sometimes need correction, so them know say, oh, you have to take what me do serious, because me take it serious too.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? As me say, me expect to go up on a music video shoot and some man there say, go guys. Me expect them to understand what me do.
But in the case of respect upon a name, Zine, because me respect. I mean, me I one, but me respect the other side, right? Even though me never start this up, right? And you know what it may look like more? Like the cinematographers would want more respect than a videographer, right? And I don't think it's so, because I believe videographers are actually more well skilled than a cinematographer. Why me I gonna say that is this. All right, me see some whole heap of head that turn sideways. Wait. A man who can get up and build a rig and a gimbal, even if it's pre-built or whatever, and balance that and go shoot and run and gun upon their foot all day and do all of that, and them can do that every single day, back to back for hours. Then you do it when you shoot your festivals or whatever you're shooting. You're on it the whole day. Plus, you gotta edit it and then get back to it the next day and export something. That is a lot. And you fly drone, right? I had a big argument with a girl. Well, she had an argument with me because she said I wouldn't be a good cinematographer or a better cinematographer if I didn't know how to balance a gimbal or how to fly a drone. And you know what I said to her? That is not my job. There's somebody for that. But you know what? If she knows somebody that's my skill level or even better or just as good as me, and them know for balance a gimbal and fly a drone, who will get the work? The other person.
But that's
you understand?
Is not me.
No. Give me. Wait, may I go past the mic. But one more thing. All right, that same person, for example, I wish he was here. I tried to get him on. Boy Pedro, that have all of that skill, and I'm really good, and he's going into cinematography. What you say about them man, they know when they reach our level, them man they extra well rounded and good because them have that skill plus now this skill, right?
But Kevin, Herb talk, come on, talk.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say something and then I'm going through to Kevin.
Yeah, man.
So again, the job is very different. Cinematographers work in a different, not field, but the requirement is different. Yes, you're correct that we don't need to know how to fly a drone and them thing. They would just need to know how to instruct an operator and to say, yo, this is what I want in terms of the shot. But for him, yes, he may be skilled in different areas, but the cinematographer still have a lot more things to know outside of just flying a drone or putting together a gimbal. There's still aspect of storytelling.
But are we talking about response? Yeah, but there's storytelling, but are we also talking about responsibilities? Are we talking about storytelling and responsibility and everything? Because a videographer they do tell story, even though a lot of time they must shoot.
Yes, they do.
They do tell story, and they do.
But I'm not talking about. There's a difference between taking a script and bringing that script to life versus knowing how to capture something that isn't scripted and then tell a story from that. Two different things. No, Kevin, I'm going to throw to you before we go on. Go on, Kevin.
Okay, great. Cause I never want to vote you out of the chair. But yeah. So, all right. So I hear what you're saying, Lucky, and I don't disagree with you, right? But I'm more excited to what everybody else is saying because I look at videographers and cinematographers the same way I would look at somebody who paints a building or a structure versus somebody who paints art on a canvas.
Mhm.
A cinematographer is an artist, right? Whereas a videographer is more of, I don't want to just say
Like
data
technician.
capture, but they're a generalist, right? Whereas a cinematographer is they're a technician and they're a generalist, right? Whereas a cinematographer is a specialist.
Absolutely.
It's like police versus SWAT or police versus soldier. I'm not going to look on a soldier and say, or a SWAT and say, oh, they're better than the police, or I say the police better than the SWAT. They serve different purposes, but the police is very general, while SWAT is very specific. The SWAT, generally speaking, when a SWAT goes into a situation, they're planning the situation, they're deciding things before they even get on scene, and they're executing with precision, right? Sometimes they even rehearse before they even go into a situation. Whereas police, because they're general, them have to run into a situation when they're called to run into the situation, and they have to do this every single day, which is like what you're saying with a videographer having to do that technical stuff every single day. The police officer has to go get a call, run into the situation, try de-escalate the situation. If them get into a gun shootout, them have to go do a shootout, or them have to go run down people, them have to go do Medicaid, The SWAT not have to do all of that. The SWAT is knowing, say, oh, we're going to this crack house. There are 10 people in there. There's an entrance here, there. Them have time to plan to go execute in a specific amount of time. Now, tying that back to videography and cinematography, with a videographer, I mean, you have different levels of videographers. You have
Absolutely.
people who are just purist videographers. You have people who are videographers with a tendency towards cinematography. So you might say a little bit more art in their videography. You might have cinematographers who have to do videography, right? Because the skills are transferable. But a videographer is generally looking at a situation that exists and is capturing that situation in the moment. Very often they don't have time to control the light. They will do a one setup so they can just get enough light to capture what they're capturing. Maybe if them see a moment for something artistic, they might put it in there, but they don't usually have the time to sit down and plan days before that. Okay, I'm gonna sit the person here. We're gonna set up a light like this. We're gonna put this backdrop. That a lot of times they have to just show up and capture what's there. The most them can do is say, sit by this window. All right, let me bounce the light off of that and see if I can get it to look good. The cinematographer have more time to be deliberate about that. So it's a matter of precision versus being broad brush and general, in my opinion. Not demeaning the skill of videography, because it take a certain mindset, like you say, to handle those general situations. Like you said, you were in a situation and you couldn't function in that documentary space because the run and gun was just not your mindset. You need a videographer for that situation. And my final point is agreeing heavily with what Wentworth said. While I don't think every single situation you need to correct people, because people don't know the profession per se, but don't feel a way about correcting people, because like Wentworth said, it can do you a disservice. If somebody is hiring you and they think you are a videographer, then their expectation is that you don't need one bag of planning and one bag of lights and generator and this and that and that. And when you come with that now, then we'll be like, yo, what is all of this? This is overkill. Like if I hire somebody to paint my house, but him want to do Mona Lisa, I'm like, yo, that's not what I want. Right? You're not the right person for the job. So if you allow people to go around and say, yeah man, Denny's a videographer, then that not gonna serve Denny. It's not gonna serve him at all. But yeah, that's my point.
Very good point. I also want to take some time to actually move the conversation forward, because there's some things I do want to get to. And I know just saying you have been quiet, but I do want you to pick to basically speak on what I'm going to talk about right now. I really want your input on this. So basically, like cinematography, the term cinematography basically came about in the 1880s, right? That was the first time that people started to use it, and the term was coined, right? Also, sorry, 1890s, but the first camera was in the 1880s. That was the first camera that was invented by Thomas Edison and his assistant, or W.K.L. Dixon, right? Where I'm going with this is,
It was
from
before
that
that.
time.
It was before that. Him just did more famous.
Okay, it was before that. All right. So Google is giving me nonsense, I guess. However, DSLR cameras came in around 1989, right? The first DSLR camera apparently came in 1989. I'm just going off of what is presented to me by Google. So where I'm going with this is, film has developed over time, and cinematography has developed over time, as well as the advent of the DSLR camera gave, the everyday man the opportunity now to become what we know as the videographer, right? While cinematography was, just was there before, and people were making films on film, and because the everyday man didn't have the opportunity to just pick up a camera like what we're doing now in 2025 and go and shoot something, I think that contributed to the difference between who a cinematographer was and now who a videographer is, right? And so I think that kind of helped to separate the two lanes, because a couple years ago would just dream of becoming a cinematographer and shoot features and this and that. You know what I mean? Like at a certain level, because technology has now become so easily accessible and cameras are so easily accessible. And so now that thin line that defined both cinematographer and videographer is almost kind of erasing to some degree. So, Jessin, you as a director, what is your take on how technology has changed the landscape of the conversation?
Listening to the points, I guess I'll be the devil's advocate. I don't think the lines are as clear cut as we think they are, especially not now. I think the lines are kind of non-existent now, if I'm going to be honest with myself. It's not even so much a skill issue anymore. Videographers are evolving. Even just like of recent, well, not even so much recently, but like within the past year, I've realized that there's a lot more of a demand for videographers as opposed to cinematographers, because clients do want people who can perform multiple roles when they're on set, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to Lecky's point earlier, when him say, you probably don't need for learn how to fly a drone, I would say go and learn and fly a drone, because I was on a movie set earlier this year and the DP had to be flying his ass off. So I'd have to go learn to fly a drone. But saying that to say, a lot of videographers know, especially they're colorists, they're planning out them shots before them go shoot. So it's not just picking up a camera and just running out and just recording the first thing that you feel like you should record. Like, it's a whole different ball game now. Like, I don't know if you've even seen like some of the videography edits on set on Instagram, like that exists now. Like, they're literally doing better edits than even like companies, which is crazy. Like, you can't even tell somebody that you can't shoot something on a phone anymore, which is funny because the other day I was asked to recommend some people for a videography job. Well, no, it wasn't a videography job. It was more of a cinematography job. The person wanted somebody who can use a particular camera and I remember one of the persons had responded that, oh, them don't use that. You see me, them only use this, and this. And I was just like, interesting. Like, are you a cinematographer? Because I feel like as a cinematographer, it doesn't matter what you're given to do the job. If it's a phone, the moment if a shoot and you take that phone, you're gonna make some magic, you know. But yeah, the lines for me have, to me, essentially disappeared. Like a lot of the things that I once thought I would never have to learn or would be quote unquote taboo to mention it in the same role as a cinematographer. I now find myself having to backtrack to learn these things, especially if it's a situation where you want to remain competitive. Because as we all realize, like people are not shooting commercials like one time. Music videos are struggling on YouTube. You're hardly getting feature films right now. People are trying to shoot more vertical in terms of like movies for like Instagram content, short content. So you being able to perform multiple tasks would essentially work out in your favor, because the minute somebody reaches out to you and they want something to shoot, and you say, all right, let's say you're a DP, right? But them need a little bit extra out of you. Maybe they need you for fly a drone. Maybe them don't have the money for get a sound person, but all the other elements of a cinematographer are required. You kind of just lose out on a job, right? So I wouldn't say cinematography is devolving, because that would be disrespectful. I think cinematography in of itself is growing, but I think videography on a whole, I think it's probably growing a little bit faster. But that's just how I feel about it. That's just based off what I see going on now and a lot of my interactions when it comes on to production as of late.
So then, question to you: seeing that technology has come so far, and because of technology, things have changed, and the roles have changed, or the line between the roles have changed. You as a director, do you know? Would you consider hiring a videographer for a job, let's say a feature film or a commercial?
Not a feature film, because I think that's just a whole different skill set. But if I'm shooting a commercial where a particular look is required, like, so I feel like I can probably get that from a videographer. Not necessarily that I'm going out of my way to hire videographers to do like commercials, but even literally today, like somebody wanted inserts for a commercial, but the style of that commercial allows me the flexibility to go out and ask a videographer to do it, because it's still capturing moments from an event, but the client still wants it to feel cinematic. So it's not that they have to go out there and light something from scratch, but I still need somebody who is artistic enough to see the light within the space and find the light within that space, and find the person who is probably situated in the best light, have the right emotions, blah blah blah, to get that. So in a situation like that, like, yeah, I can reach out to a videographer to do something like that. But when you're talking about like a movie, like, I would second guess it unless I probably have a lot of faith that that person can do it with probably some guidance. Then yeah, sure.
You know,
So the part, I remember when I spoke first, I said, I'll wait until we get to the part of the conversation. I think we're here. Because Justine just jumped into a lot of things. I work at an agency and we have like 4 videographers here, and these guys are planning shots and we do workshops. So it's not like they are setting up light. They matter about, okay, we keep this part dark, and so there's clearly the evolution, but then the other, because the other part of the question now is, when you're doing this, putting this much thought into what you're going to shoot, and you're preparing like this, are you still a videographer in this case? Because when you remember, like cinematography is just really like camera and just understanding the science of light and camera. When you put the light over here, so when you hit the sensor, what's going to happen to the subject? Like that's it. And they're also doing that and say, set up that black. Then I say negative field. Put up that black cloud, so you light no bounce up. So they are paying attention.
I understand the technique.
They're getting the technique. So is it that we are referring, some of the people we refer to as videographers, are they actually
cinematographers?
You understand? That's a very, very,
That's why the lines are blurring.
the lines are getting there. So what Jason is saying, I mean, when I wait for reachers, because I'm like, the lines, the guys who are, especially when you tell them a nice cinema videographer, you must make sure you eat your word,
Bro.
Because I promise you,
it's in their bio.
Yeah, them go back and them go do them research and they're like, them are come out guns blazing. And then you tell them, say, you can't just call yourself a cinematographer. All right, watch this. And them do it. So, is it that I am not a gatekeeping thing. I think once you respect the art and you're growing in it, you reserve the right to call yourself a cinematographer. I mean, I'll get offended once you're doing it. Because you're just saying stuff, and I'm like, bro, I believe in our agency. So, we see this daily with the guys and we shoot food content and them on them food content. Every time them shoot it, it's getting it, them are elevated. You understand? And them are, and if them want to get an effect and them don't know it, them must say, it's not like them are shoot it, them must say, Kelly, what am I do forget this? So them are pay attention and they're asking questions and them are watch a ton of videos. And when you go there, you see them watch the manual study. So the whole thing is, are these guys not even realizing that they have leveled up enough to know that they have become
They're more than
DOPs?
Right. It's because
And that's the thing. They're leaning towards cinematography.
they are.
And the thing is, just like in any profession, you're going to, depending on what you want, you may want to elevate, because there's no rule that says once a videographer, always a videographer.
Absolutely.
Right? You can start dabbling in it. And if you're interested in it, you start learning more and more and more. And at some point, you can call yourself a cinematographer. It's just like a police officer don't have to stay a police officer forever. They can take note and say, all right, well, you know what? We want to form a special task force and actually start doing some things more SWAT-like, because from time to time we do have situations where we have to plan, etc., etc. While that might not be them primary mode, that might be something them start leaning towards. And the fact of the matter is, let me not say most videographers. A lot of videographers want to be cinematographers, but they start off in videography because it's the easiest way to get work. Like Justine was saying, more and more people are hiring videographers because of they want somebody who has general knowledge, right? Can do a myriad of things. They want somebody who can shoot it, color it, edit it, etc. Even saw an article today, I think on the same daily is that Twain shared, where it was saying that basically editors are no longer just people who put clips together. They have to know how to color, they have to know some sound design, etc., right? And then now it's just a matter of how serious you take it is what nudges you into the cinematography level of things.
But wouldn't you say, because you could actually argue that videography is evolving, because cinematography has also evolved from its inception. So, I mean, I guess in a similar way, you can kind of argue that videography is evolving.
It is.
Very true.
And it is a result of technology, but not only technology, but social media. And before we go to that, Randy,
I know, not just social media, streaming. Because remember, TV used to look like TV, and now TV look like cinema.
But that is because of
part
technology.
of it is the fact that the client is now demanding that it needs to be cinematic.
And it's technology on
because that's where
all
everybody is.
fronts: camera, streaming, social media. But Randy, go on through.
Yeah, no. So my question I wanted to ask, and this is to everybody, as a point for us to think and consider. We've spoken a lot, we listened to everybody talk about like the creative aspects of cinematography and videography, the the technical aspects of cinematography and videography, and how the lines are being blurred. But when I personally think about cinematography, and the whole gamut of it from just the creative and technical aspect, but then also the organizational and the responsibility aspect. I know Andre spoke earlier about some of this when we talked about, head of department and responsibilities.
Mhm.
When, I want to say two things and for the question. One, when it comes to a job role and you call yourself a videographer versus a cinematographer, I think you put out to the world a different perspective, which most of you guys mentioned.
Mhm.
But the question is, when it comes to cinematography, how important do you guys see it as to actually have the knowledge how to run a department, how to actually craft the story from not just the behind the lens and in the camera and the lens kind of situation, but actually knowing how to interface with a team and manage a team, working with directors, creating budgets, creating lookbooks. To me, it's not only about shooting on the day
Choosing the
and
right
being
equipment.
something there, but there is a lot of expertise required, both organizationally and creatively. And my question to you all, and then you can just throw it around to whoever, is like, at what point do we then say that a cinematographer is a cinematographer because those skills are important? And how do we delineate between a videographer and a cinematographer when we take those things into consideration?
And I think we're not yet to start, but maybe somebody else can go back to me. I think everybody needs to talk on where like Randy just asked a while ago. I think everybody needs to say something on it. Everybody. I'm not starting though. Wow.
All right.
So that is kind of, because when you think about it, videographers go through that same thing just on different levels because they themselves also have to do some form of organization. They also have to report to somebody because they have to report to a client essentially, which is kind of like a director. Mind you, they might not tell you every single shot that they want, but from my experience, you do have clients who just like, I need this shot, this shot, this shot. Make sure you get that. So there is that aspect. They themselves have to be deciding what cameras to use based on budget. Like, I'm going to use my phone for this because this is how I get paid for. I'm going to use my Sony, or I can whip out the red for this because I get a lot of extra money. So yeah, I mean, it's on different levels for sure, but again, I feel like that's also why the lines are a little bit blurred because they themselves also have to do that. Because even when you think about like certain events where you have like, let's say 5+ videographers working in tandem to record this thing, it's kind of similar. So yeah.
But do videographers work with other departments?
Um Not necessarily departments, but I have been in situations where you have like a team of videographers and them have like a producer and stuff like that. So maybe not all the various departments, but it's just a little close. That's really what I'm saying, which I think is where the line gets blurred. Because they also have their producer and they might still have a client attached to it, which still kind of functions a little bit like a director.
As well as, if I might add, sometimes some events require you to have multiple videographers, and then so yes, you have a producer, but then you have a lead videographer, and then you have other camera operators who are now, capturing multiple angles, what I mean, different angles for a specific job if it's like a live event, what I mean? So you might not lead a department or, deal with different departments, but you might deal with different people. And so those skills that Randy talking about is still transferable, and I think, they have to do it at that level. It's just not the same.
Yeah, and I'm asking just because I don't do live events, but wouldn't that be like a lead videographer be doubling as a technical director in that case?
I guess you could say that. Yeah, you could say that, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, and
Let me tell you,
and a director too. And then I'll just go to you, Kevin, after this. A director as well, because in my own work, where I've had to lead a team of different videographers to say, yo, this is the style that we're going for. These are the type of shots that I want. You know what I mean? So I delegate to these camera operators now the vision, right? I communicate the vision to them and I tell them, all right, you stay on a close-up, right? You get this person or that person, or you focus on the crowd. And so it might be a technical director, but you also end up being a director, because at the end of the day, when you go to post-production, if you are the editor, you're going to cut that show or that story together to, bring that experience to the screen so that other people can experience that. All right, Kevin.
I was on
I agree with you completely, because
I was on the Campari shoot when they did that. I was there.
But that's different. That was completely different.
Yeah. But a lot of what Denny and Justine talking about, I've seen it with weddings.
Mhm.
A lot of people feel like, okay, yeah, weddings, we show up with the camera and we make sure we capture the church service, the kiss, the blah, blah, blah. But then when your client says to you, hey, I want this thing to be magical and blah, 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 and the wedding is going to have 200 people. When that wedding have 200 people, you one can't capture that.
Mhm.
So now you have other other videographers with you. You have to now be telling them, like Dennis said, what to shoot, where to shoot. You're deciding, hey, are we going to shoot this soft or high contrast or whatever the case is, depending on the look that you're going for. And you may have to liaise with the different teams. Mostly you're going to be liaising with the wedding planner.
Right.
But that wedding, you're going to say to the wedding planner, hey, I need a shot of the cake, and I want to do a slow-mo of the cake when the cake is coming out.
Mhm.
So let me know when they're coming out with the cake. Tell them to wait on me. And then they'll signal you and they say, all right, yo, camera A, you need to be at that position.
Mhm.
All right, you're going to use the gimbal because you're going to follow the cake out,
Mhm.
and it needs to be slow-mo. And then I need you to stay on the cake. And then when the cake is about to pass the bride and groom, you reveal them and blah, blah, blah. And all of that is planning, and communicating with the different departments. It's not necessarily on the same level as a film,
Mhm.
where, it's probably going to be a lot more intense.
Mhm.
But a wedding can get very, very intense, and it's a production. It's not just
It is.
we are capture the wedding. It's a production.
And you still have to communicate with the audio department because you need audio. So
Exactly, because you want to plug into the audio and all of them things.
Yeah.
You don't want to just capture the audio in the ear. You want to capture it direct.
precisely.
So them shoot that with me, Freda. Like those moments, opportune moments where me can ask,
Nerve-wracking.
where I can ask for safety. Like I'm afraid.
Exactly.
Right, like
Why
can I
are
get
you
a safety?
Why are you afraid?
Right?
No, and that's why I said
Bro,
you can't
I shot-
say a videographer is less than a
Yeah,
cinematographer, because
and that's what me I
the
say.
skill and mindset is a different
That's what me I
thing.
said. Them man they on another level, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like I shot a bar mitzvah. We not going to it. I shot a bar mitzvah early this year, right?
Yeah, for making
Yo.
money still.
Yo. When me tell you I'm going at that, and I had to study it first. Come here, like first of all, this is a Jewish thing. That usually them not gonna have even my type of people that shoot this or whatever. So let me just understand what I'm getting into. Some watch a few, I'm gonna go, okay, there's a few way you can shoot this. You can shoot this like a videographer or a videographer that wants something to look cinematic. So I do my study. And then I talk to the father and try to understand the schedule of outings and what he specifically want. It's just like a wedding. you cannot miss the important part. The part where them are running, or the part where them put him up on the chair and spin him around the camera. You can't forget when them are read the thing them. You can't when them are walk around with the scroll. You can't miss them thing. There's no do over. So you have to make sure say the lens can friggin' focus right, and the camera can give you what you want. Maybe you can't walk with him, but maybe you can track him all the way around. You see what I said? These are the things you have to think about, and I'm able to do that because I had that conversation with the dad and knew what I was in store for. A man, a wedding photographer, videographer, and photographer. Sometimes same person doing both. Them man, they can do that in them sleep because all them have to know is where the bride are go there and the groom are go there when them start. So them go in and start take them picture and video there already. Right? And then, okay, down the aisle things, them already set up cameras. Them already know some of these things. So it make it easier for them for jumping at them. Yeah. But naturally too, the man they can say, yo, I want to shoot something forward. And then naturally can go out there and just go shoot something and do it well. Me, wake me up and tell me, say, yo, we're going to shoot. Brother, I have a million questions for you. Just off the top. That's all.
But you have to know how to do that. And the reason why I said this is because those videography challenges, right? We're still doing this at the highest level of cinematography. Things happen, things change, you know what I mean? Like you have to adjust on set quite quickly, you know what I mean? And if you don't know, if you're gonna be like, oh, me have a million questions, you gotta get going, bro, because time is money on these sets. So the quicker you can solve a problem, as I think Kevin, you were the one that said this, that cinematographers are, problem solvers. I don't remember who said it. But you have to be able to solve these problems quickly. And that is what a lot of videographers do. So a lot of that knowledge and skill set still transfer over into being a cinematographer.
Denny, wait. Yes, sorry, wait. Denny, our diverting and plan Bs are totally different from videography. Videography, as I just say, I'm gonna tell you if we get up and let's go shoot something. When we get up, yesterday morning when we get up, we go shoot this video thing. It was already planned and bam. So if there was something that happened in that shoot, I have an idea of maybe a plan B how to divert. If I'm gonna tell you if you wake up, it's like waking you up out of your sleep and say, yo, I could go do something. You already kind of like...
It don't have to be that though.
Right?
It don't have to be that though. The thing is, I think we've gotten past the whole videographers just get up and shoot. I think, like Jensen was saying, it's evolved. They do plan, but the difference between videography and cinematography now is that with videography, even though you plan, something unexpected might happen, and there's no opportunity to say, oh, wait, I didn't know you guys were going to do that. Can you do that again? You have to literally just be quick enough to go, oh, great, that look important. I need to capture it, right? Versus cinematography, if you're shooting something and something happened that you never expect, you can go, whoa. I didn't know a clown was going to jump out of the closet. We need to frame for that. We have to go do that over. Show me the blocking. You can't do that at a wedding. You can't do that at a bar mitzvah. You can't do that at a corporate event. You just have to know, say, oh crap, John Cena jump out of the window. I have to capture that.
Well, question, it just came to me. Come have a couple questions like this. Quick question. Which one is more expensive? Whose mistake is more... let's not call it a mistake. It's a mistake in cinematography. And it could be a happy accident. But which one is more expensive? A videographer missing Sizzler run up on stage and it's his first time after 13 years in prison? Or a cinematographer missing a shot that costs $100,000 to
Obviously, it's gonna be the cinematographer.
Oh, you better cut this out before you go.
Right?
Obviously, there's too much riding on a cinematographer's back, bro. Like, it's too much. It's about like a whole day. being shake up because then they get one shot, one whole day. You see me?
Yeah.
When they can go to a client and
Let me
say,
tell
yo, you
you.
know what's up, boy? I never get him a run out.
What's going to cost you more, bro? That's what's even a real question. I hear your question, but bro, no. Like, I must say devil's advocate here, play. Bro,
No, me I play devil's no because my next thing is also is what we are talking about. I said it earlier about respect again. You can say respect pon cinematographer's name, but me I said it already. I just feel like yes, as a cinematographer, me that give. Yo, me will give a videographer probably more respect than a cinematographer sometimes. Cinematographer, to me, yes, we do it. Bro, me do the work, so my understanding of my brain, the amount of level of work we have to do. Me get it. But bro, as me keep on I say, a man we can jump up and go do something and do it well over and over, really skillfully and really good. Bro, he has so much over me. Him can take my job if he has so much.
It depends on the situation. You can't. Because cinematographers do that too, you know. Like I've been on set, I might have about like commercial shoots where you come with someone on my mind. I'm just like, yo, if I shoot down this line, it's going to look perfect. And by the time them done set up the camera and light it, I was like, yo, this will like us. I'm gonna look over in the next corner of the room and I talk to the cinematographer and I'm just like, you know, so if we shoot it over this so it could work better. And now we have to migrate all of that setup, information, lights, whatever, to another side of the set. And now the cinematographer have to figure out how am I going to light this, how am I going to make it work, how am I going to do this in the shortest amount of time, because, you know, time I run out per way. So them do that too. It's just, again, it's just different.
Yeah.
I think, like, I
It's
just
just-
think it's two different skills.
I have to understand, you know,
It's absolutely two different skills. And at the highest level,
and
you
two
have to
different
give
worlds.
you have to give props to both. You absolutely do. So
Yeah.
I don't see anything different as in it's two different skills where somebody get up today and go shoot something and you're like, damn, you know, videographer, just get up and do it versus you work with a director for 3 weeks talking color theory, shot list, style, handheld or sticks, camera movement, then having to go and translate that with the art department, with wardrobe to discuss what colors clash against what colors. I think at the highest level is a different set of skill sets and each need to be, you know, recognized and acknowledged. But at the end of the day, a cinematographer has a larger scope to deal with, while a videographer might have more skill sets that he has to bring towards it. So it's two different things. It's comparing apples and oranges, and we have to, you know, give props to both.
And I think that
I agree. Just coming off of the back, I just shoot 2 films in the summer, and I mean, you ask that time over there, but like, bro, you couldn't. I had like one of the camera ops, one of the operators on one of the cameras on camera B for the first film that I shot. He's a videographer by day, and he just realized that the nuances of shooting, you know, the music video and stuff when we shoot before, like the nuances of film. He's like, bro, but they finish it like, bro, thank you for the experience. But it's not like one of your top-rated videographers in Kingston. But at the end of the day, I'm coming and I'm like, bro, I did not think about I would not have thought about these things going into the production. But like, yeah, because I see it one way, but that's not what the story requires. And because, as I say, no, videographers grow, you know. But if you went about a videographer versus a DP, bro, the biggest thing, and I know, you know, me know just saying talk about it, but I have to pinpoint intention. I already say it already.
Yes.
You have to pinpoint intention. Like, what a videographer might just show up some light and say, yo, that blue and red light, they look pretty. For me, blue and red signifies something totally different. It signifies something totally different. It going to affect that 2 line in the script is probably what I just need the blue light for. But you're going to shoot something and you're going to shoot it the whole night in blue and red. And it's a pretty when it's done, you know. But that's all it is. But it is not a storytelling device. You understand? And so the nuances of being a cinematographer is it outweighs it, and that's why I'm like, we have to like look at them as they're two separate disciplines. They do cross over, but one of them is it's the clear intentions. When I have to sit down and plan out, even if I don't plan out my shots, we already talked about the story 3-4 days back to back, but what we're trying to forget. We look on production, design, colors, and all of them stuff here. We look on we talk about lights, we talk about what we put on the grip truck, what we have got mounted pan, we talk about we have got put up some pipe in our roof, or we have got put up a menace arm, we have everything about all of those stuff. Because even though you have a grip, you have to be technical enough to also figure out this roof don't know if I stick up 2 pipes run across. How may I get the light booming from up above? I have to sit down and discuss that. That's not as much work because a videographer can go in a room, it's well lit, and when they turn on the camera, that shit just works. But the truth is, when me turn on the light, I don't need that much light. So if I figure out how I'm going to turn off, just keep one of them light on. The difference is always going to, yes, and the truth is videographers are telling stories. But there is clear difference in the level of intention.
That is it.
Yeah.
So can are we
Bro,
saying
perfect
that
example is the movie Belly.
Can we say that a cinematographer services the story while a videographer services the production?
I think that's probably one of the best compromises you're going to reach. Yeah, but to be honest,
I think so too.
The visual storytelling, it's like illustrating a book. That's what shooting a film is. You're pretty much illustrating a script, right? And and that is a tough task. And you reach a place where, remember, if you miss a shot as a videographer, you can fill it with something else. We continue. If you miss a scene and not shoot it properly, that story might just get canned because it can't go nowhere because you missed something. You understand?
And I mean, just to add to what you're saying, is like you wouldn't, like video editing, right? You have some people who they're used to editing music videos all their life. And then you have some people who them edit stories. And this is not, no one is going to say that the music video editor is less than the story editor.
Experience the magic of live stories. Ever wondered what goes into crafting the next great film or stage play? At Unscripted Sundays, you don't just watch, you become a part of the process. Discover exciting new stories from talented writers and see actors bring them to life, all in real time. Your feedback helps shape the next big hit. Unscripted Sundays is brought to you by Yardbridge Entertainment in association with Johnny Life Productions. Unscripted Sundays, fresh stories, raw talent, real reactions.
Right, yeah. So I was saying that it's like music video editors versus people who edit like stories, short stories, movies, whatever the case is. You know, the skills are transferable, there's some overlap, etc. But if somebody's only used to shooting or editing music videos, it's hard for them to edit a short film. They tend to cut way too early because they're just used to cutting really quickly. And them getting nervous when the footage is going on for too long. And you might be like, I need the scene to breathe. I need more room. Whereas the story editor now, you put them to edit a music video and they're tempted to make the scene last long. And you're just like, that need for chop quick. It need for chop quicker. But for them, they're like, it need for breathe. So it's like, you need both types of editors. And you can be both type of editors in one. You just have to, diversify enough. But if you stick to one, all right, like for you, Lecky, you're a cinematographer through and through. If you get a 1 or 2 videography jobs, you're obviously going to feel off a bit because that's not what you're used to. But if 50% of your jobs were videography and 50% were cinematography, you'd be comfortable in both spaces. It's just that most likely 80 to 90% of your work is cinematography. And if you even look on directing is the same. Directing a music video versus directing a film. And I think the perfect example is Belly. Hype Williams. That's one of the prettiest movies ever. Story no make no sense, right? About 3 or 4 different stories going in one movie, but it pretty, and it probably would have been better in the hands of a different director with Hype Williams as a cinematographer or something, but that just goes to show you that both disciplines, they work in their space perfectly.
But I have a question to you all.
I think I get cut off.
Especially those who practice cinematography. With the landscape changing, right? We can clearly see that, as Justine said, there's a lot more requests for people who are multidisciplinary, who can fly a drone, who can know how to do audio, that like basic audio capture. You get me? I say whether if it's a road or a Hollyland lark or whatever, you know what I mean? Like you have to learn how to do all of these things now, right? So because the landscape is changing, do you think that you as a cinematographer, do you think that you will take on more videography like jobs in the future since there is more of a demand? And do you think that the role of a cinematographer, like, will there be less opportunities in the future because there is so much demand for content and content creators and people who create content?
So that's what I wanted my question to be, something along the line of that, like
Mhm.
moving forward, or where we are now, because like for you, you're videographer going cinematographer route and cinematographer now. Like, would you guys, if you're a cinematographer, prefer to learn more videography, or videographers that's here prefer to learn more cinematography? Which
I
one?
don't know if
Which
this is
direction would you?
learning.
Now, which direction would you prefer? Which direction? Because it's gonna always bring you back to the center, of both of them.
I treat videography the way I treat shooting documentary, right? Because you have to really think on your feet. And you have to move, bro. Like if something happen, and you have to just pick up your camera and run. And you have to just frame it and get it right. So it's not like use available lighting and not bounce out on the field. You just have to, and if you light a hit down, you have to be like, Batman, turn your face aside here so we can shoot it this way. See, and so you're doing both, but you have to just like on the fly, you have your thing. And I, at least once or twice a year, I do some videography work with like JT. Me have this thing where, and brother me they now see what up to my knee, up to my chest with camera in my hand, because we capture the events of stuff, and then when we're done, we need to make one of them choppy sack video there as well with crazy effects. So, and then me and my colorist, science self and Riri, bro, I for that show that I'm fine too, because so
Time is of the essence.
because
Say bring it back down to pot scrapings.
you have to come out. But guess what? I don't mind that because I appreciate it for its dexterity. I appreciate that type of shooting for the dexterity. It allows you to think on your feet. Then when we did a shoot the other day at the house, I'm like, yo, if you set up the light, it's gonna take too long. I'm like, yo, we're gonna get it because the sun will go. And so for me, when I do those things, it prepare me for when we're going at the sun. I'm like, and besides, I'm shooting on a better camera with it'll give me a little more latitude. So here we're going to really find out the shit is as good as you pick the amount of money them pay for it. So you guys, a lot of persons a lot of persons knew me as a cinematographer, they knew me as a drone up. So I've been flying drone before. Yeah, I fly. Randy them know, Jesse is supposed to know this because me even fly for lab. At one point I did like 2 jobs for lab and stuff. So I've been flying from like Phantom 2. Long time. So I was doing all of this from before. So that was just another skill set, coming into cinematography. So, and that has given me a lot of jobs. Yo, you can't fly? Oh, you shoot? Oh, you can't fly? All right, cool. Yeah, man. All right, so, yeah, man, come in. But you know, I have to keep, you get the opportunities can be better. So when you ask, do I need to learn to fly a drone or do I need to learn to do this? And sometimes you have to just throw away a little technical. Sometimes you have to just turn off a couple switch in your head and be like, Bradman, just capture, edit and put it out. Because the game is changing
Exactly.
every way. It's changing, bro. With the other agency, just saying you know this, bro, like the commercial, they don't exist anymore. It's all 15-second, 30-second videos. Sometimes I just want 5-second cut. And it's vertical and me pissed off every day. But I have to there with them. I mean, like, all right, the most we can do is, all right, this are the format we are working on, still produce this quality. Right? And still plan it like it is a shoot. So now you're like, okay, create brief for the shoots that you're doing. Art, you need to create a little art department. Guys, you need to set up this here, so, and all of that. Because when we shoot the other day, we shoot the film the other day. I don't know if I'm going to get to shoot another film until probably late next year or something, because where the money will go. Andre, you live in Atlanta, you know how things are going. Like you there, you know how it'll go. Just in lab shoot and make films and stuff. And when you don't make it, you have to sell it. But then somebody might make it for cheaper. So there's just so much things that's changing, and it's a moment for adapting to the change. But you have to just figure out, how do I fit in this new thing? Because you can't, everything is just going fast. And them young boy with them Sony S-Log, with them Sony S-Log 3 and gimbal, brother. Them.
Yo, that creator movie was the detriment, you know.
Bro, them boys, and them boy not free to tell you, say, yo, if you pack up your magic or some energy to it, because
Harry. I mean, pack up your Harry.
I never tell pack up your Harry. Them man, them there, them just get, somebody here get an iPhone 17 and say, boss, me just like a bad little thing, you know, you can pack up your camera. I mean, that's what I said to him. So, storytellers are still going to be important. That's who we are. But outside of that, we have to like a transform. We have to become Autobots while we're doing this. We have to transform and move through, you know?
So then would you take on more videography jobs in the future then?
Would I? It depends on what it is. It really depends on what it is. As I say, I do it for JTB because I have a clear vision. Because some of the stuff that I require as a cinematographer, I still require it as a videographer. Yo, what is the brief? You need to tell me the deliverables. Don't send me out there and then tell me at the end of the day, say, I need a 10-minute video. No, you gotta tell me exactly what you need when this end. And you gotta tell me if you need a vertical. So don't tell me, say, you don't need a vertical and don't want it in a writing. So you make your specifications, tell me the event, tell me how long we're supposed to live on the road, whatever, You have to provide all that information before me get up from my yard to come on the road with you. You understand? So I still keep, there's some stuff in cinematography that you're a creature of habit, because you still have to control the quality, you have to control how it will come out. And if you don't know what you're going to do, then, you know, me can't do like people and just fly, turn on the camera and flip stuff. Like, man, I still try to keep my intention, even when we turn off certain things, you know? But I think if it's worth the time, not only the time, but
the dollars.
The dollars as well. And to be honest, like if I get calls as a videographer, persons them not say, oh, well, we're going to pay him this because I'm a videographer. I think the respect is still there. They're just like, bro, when you expect to carry 10 big light and fire a big truck from park up my place. But them say, all right, if that your rate, I will consider pay half your rate for as a videographer, because actual videographers I get less than half my rate anyway. So, you know, we keep all that in mind and try to, you know, do more in terms of you just capture if somebody call and them want it. But then again, you know, the other side of this is that the clients are also expecting more when them hire a videographer.
Of course.
That's also another part of it. They're like, oh no, but him capture it like this. Yo, I still want this to look.
All right. So
The truth is, you probably get tired as a cinematographer at all costs. That's also the other part of it. Yeah.
absolutely. So cause we're going like an hour and a half into this thing now. Andre, you want to say something?
Yeah, just
Right.
quick. Like I took a different route. Me and Lecky were talking about this today. So while the other direction might be videographer, for me, I've been doing a lot of gaffing work lately.
Mhm.
So that still helps with my skill set because lighting is one of my really good skill sets. But I can bring that to another DP and work with them. So I have a grip truck, I have a 2-ton light package, everything. So I am able to go out and get that work. I might not necessarily take videography work because that's just not it might be another path. So as you know, in here is either you go through the camera department or utility, second AC, first AC, DP, or you go through best boy, gaffer, DP. In Jamaica it might be it's typically videographer to DP.
Or just straight
I'm
to
right now
DP.
working on that. Huh?
Or just straight to DP.
Just go straight to DP. Right now, I because I used to gaff and I used to grip before, especially when I was in school and thing. When I just moved here, it's the easiest way to get on set. So that's what I doing more so than probably taking more videography work. I just take more gaffing work.
Okay. Good. So Randy, you ready to take on more videography work?
I already do both. I mean, I feel like in this industry and economy, you can't really silo yourself into one position. I've done projects just as Wentworth say, where I'm doing drone work. Just me and Denny, I have conversation today about a project, and them want drone work and this, that. And so it's not. It's already a reality for me. I don't personally believe that I should silo myself solely, especially in Jamaica, as just a cinematographer, because the economy and the marketplace and the industry is, while it is large in some regards, it isn't large enough to sustain a sole cinematographer job career for all the cinematographers that are here. So I think for me, economically, just better to just take multiple roles. If I own a job as a videographer and I need to do multiple things, yeah. And just as Wentworth said, I still approach it with the same kind of nuance as it relates to, well, this is the way that I work. It doesn't matter if I decide to the job I go take a little bit less. My standard of quality don't fall just because you pay me less. If my take a pay for a job, I'm going to show up with the same standard of quality. Unless, like, to be honest, like when I go out, I got camera red, even if you give me a Sony S whatever price, I go say, yo, unless you just don't want the red footage, I go just convince, I go try my best to convince you to just take the red because it is still my work. Unless you want something else. You know what I mean? So I'm going to continue to work within that space. And I guess the last thing I want to say is that, yeah, the industry is changing. It's not that, people want more vert content. People want more short form. The production quality isn't necessarily decreasing. I think the way we just execute is transforming. It doesn't mean that all the other spaces don't no longer exist when it comes to cinematography work as a cinematographer. It's just that what it looks like may be very different, and the space that cinematographers work in might become much smaller. And that's just the reality. Cinematographers may need to come prepared not only to just be a cinematographer from the organizational and creative aspect, but now, because some cinematographers don't camera operate. Now they might need to come and camera operate. They might need to drone. They might need to this. They might need to do that. So, that's just the reality of it is now. So, yeah.
So Mac, I know you are very intentional about how you present yourself to the world in terms of being a cinematographer. So yes,
Well,
based on what you said before in the conversation, it sounds to me that is your intention. You want people to know that you're a cinematographer and not necessarily a videographer. So how do you feel about the future of both fields, and do you think that you would consider taking on more videography job, shooting more butt and them kind of thing there.
Shooting whatever. Everything what everybody already say. I'm going in. I'm thinking in that direction. Definitely. When Randy was just talking, I was going to say what him said. The reason why a lot of Jamaicans are doing what they're doing is because just the economy, and there's just not. There's. I don't want to use a lot of fish in the pond, or not in the pond, or too much big fish, but it's just like it's just, I don't think enough for you to hold your own as saying I'm a cinematographer. You know what I mean? And for me, ever since I forward back to America, I just been pushing myself as a cinematographer, calling myself a cinematographer, because I mean, I was in Jamaica. How many people knew while I was in Jamaica that I was a cinematographer? Many didn't. You understand? Luckily, I shoot some things with Just Saying. And, Andre may know, but not much people didn't know I was a cinematographer. They only look at me as an AC. And in America, as Andre would tell you, you can get put in a box. So the moment you start the videography, it's not like you can't do it and you can't do it well enough. But then you start getting known for it and you start getting called for it. And then for a man like him, where have a family, it can become easy money. And you can get really good at it, even though you're already good at it, but you can get really, really good at it, and you can get. And I know we all here not gonna outprice ourselves, because me hear Randy talk, and he must say, yeah, you may take a lower rate, but we know Randy not take a lower rate. He might go do a rate to him go, this is it. Like, is this here or no Randy? You see what I say? So me for cinematography, no? Wow. Well, then things has changed in Jamaica.
You have to have a what Randy would love.
You have to be flexible.
Flexible?
Just that, you have to have a what do you call it, Randy? A minimal level of engagement.
Yeah, you do. You do have a minimum level of engagement, but you have to respond to the market. The market is changing, and you can't hold fast to in a ever evolving market. So no, I've had jobs that I've worked on that don't pay me my rate or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's, you have 30 days on the calendar. You don't shoot every day. If a job come in that pays me half of my rate on a day I'm not working, am I going to say no to the job because of ego? No, I'm going to take the job and do the work, because the money still makes sense. I might not make the gear money, but I make the camera money, if you look at it that way. But to be honest, it doesn't. It's just about being strategic.
Yeah. So
and I mean, it's different for us here, Panarock, because you're right, you guys being there and making sure you're locking yourself. And I know, like, Andre he's like, Gaffer, I know that's like one of the easiest ways to become a DP. Because, just by recommendation, if you're working a DP and I'm like, oh, but this guy could do it. And that's how you do it.
But the thing is, it's not easy becoming a gaffer.
But the moment you get in. But I understand being in the States, because I have brethren who started as a cinematographer, and then them end up and say, why they're not getting a cinematography job? And they're just stop doing videography. They might make money still, because man just get over FX9 shop and can't buy it.
Exactly.
Yeah, like me, I am not, I don't know if I'm going to do that and how would I position myself in terms of that. But in Jamaica, it's different. Nobody not going to pay like, oh, I'm a shoot video, I'm a videographer now, so we not go. No, that's a matter of fact, it probably end up that a videographer gets called to shoot something, a serious project, if they might do good work. That's what I mean.
That's the thing, it's happening.
And that's what's happening. I know I have to give a shout out to Pedro, because like, you see Pedro is like one of those guys that him flip his script. Somebody who was just doing videography full time, and now he's coming over. You see him image, and I watched him progress, and he's one of the guys who you see my shoot stuff with the word, what I say, intention, and he's doing well. So your sister this so that's I guess that's the only difference here between here and there, where you can move from a videographer back to a cinematographer and grow from there, and in the States it's kind of different. You have to hope and praise that somebody in the States, and say, I'm shooting a film and I'd love for you to be my DOP on this joint, and then hope said it's a good story, because you trust yourself to get a solid image. And God, that's another problem. No, as a cinematographer. It's just like, is the story good enough? And it can land you and put you in different places. Outside of that, in Jamaica, bro, we still have a problem. I distribute. I still have to figure out how I get this money from the government to make the film I want to make. You know, Kevin, no, Kevin, this is not a slap in the face. I'm just saying. But I'm just putting it out there that, you know, we have to just do what we have to do, but not demean. I remember said demean myself, because I have some people call it and tell them, you know, so how to shoot it, can shoot it for $15,000. Like, bro, don't do that.
That's it. Wait, that's a minimal, what you call it? Engagement.
God may ask me for shoot for free. It's easier. And it's not, and you can't understand, and people
Actually,
it just depends. And the truth is, some people, that's what I'm at. But I'm like, bro, just...
well, you know, that's actually true. I've said that to people before. If Steven Spielberg are your best friend and you want him to direct something for you, he will prefer to direct it for free than you tell him some will give 20 grand. Because if him ever hear that back,
Stipend.
Bro, and that's the thing. So you have to watch, because you have to also protect your brand. You have to protect your brand. And even when I make deals with people, I'm like, bro, as a matter of fact, I don't want to hear this repeated. Me said to them, like, I don't want to hear this repeated that this is what you paid me.
True.
I'm doing this for you. Or you better go to them and say, oh, him do it for me for free. Then people know, say, oh, him do it for free because you rate you, or whatever the case is. But if me decide to take a certain amount of money from you, then we don't even want to talk. Let's not even talk about it again.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And because the one thing we know about it, like out of desperation and all that, for come and stuff. So you still have to protect your dignity as a working professional. I mean, and again, as Randy said, yo, once if I get half, if you get half your rate and it's a day where you're not work where you get your full rate, you're gonna do the job.
Pay your bills, man.
You have to pay, you understand? You have to do it.
well, what me did I say is because when I take committing.
And you should make it the last point. You're like,
I'm trying to go
wait, yeah.
I'm trying to wrap this thing up.
Yo, Kevin, you like to do this? Because you know I like to button in the end. But what I was saying is,
pause.
Nice timing. Nice timing, JC boy. COH, yeah, blue shirt. Anyway.
All right, the KC man, they want to get the chance in the car.
Yo, you made me lose my train of thought. You're making me lose my train of thought. What I'm going to try to say is... What I am trying to say is...
Yes.
Yo, videography is cool. I honestly don't have the gear for it. And I try not to have the gear for it because I just don't care for that type of gear. Some of those gear, I'm not going to buy an FX. I'll buy an FX3, but
Marz.
I have no reason for that. Yeah,
it's
here and there.
Cool,
you know what I mean? Me not care. Me not care. You understand? Me not have no gimbal for my phone. Me not have them things. So anytime you ask me, I have a reason to say no because I don't have it. And it's always happened to me. My friend of mine asked me, hey, can I come take some picture? Oh, I don't have my camera and take picture. It's the easiest way to get out of that problem. You understand? So me's not a picture man, me's not a video man, and none of them things there. Not saying I won't do it, but I just don't care to.
You're an artist.
You see me say, no, me don't want to try do that and say me as an artist, I'm enough to do it. Me just don't try to put myself in that place there. Even like the other day, my friend come ask me, oh, boy, edit something for me. And then I realize what she want edit. I say, that's a good this and that and no. You know, so I see him bridging forward there and edit the something on his phone in a CapCut. And I was like, he did that 1,000 times faster than how I would have done it.
Yeah,
if you have anything, if you have any big thing for edit, just ask him for do that. Don't ask him for do no IG video type something. Like, no, that's not my type of editing. You see me say? So it's like, and she said to me the other day, like, you always say no to things. And it's like, I'm not saying no to things. It's just, I think we kind of focus on things where I want to do instead of saying yes, I want to do this. And yes, because I can do it, that does not mean I should do it.
Yeah.
You see what I say?
Some of us have to be like Christopher Nolan. Like, you want to shoot on IMAX, bro? That is what you're gonna do. I'm gonna shoot
Yeah.
on IMAX. I'm not gonna waste my time on a
No,
Blackmagic or
no,
some
no.
Cine
That
17K.
doesn't mean, you know. That
Fine.
doesn't mean, you know. Me's also camera agnostic, even though I'm gonna care for shoot on certain camera. If the camera is for the job, if the camera is for the job, I will shoot on that camera.
Oh,
If the shot make it, yeah. And to be honest, I want to shoot something on. Yes, I was shoot. I shot on the. I was shot on the FX3 before. You've seen the music videos. I shot on FX9.
You know, that's a very
I shot on the
that's a very
FX6.
camera statement,
Right? Wait, no, Kevin.
That's a very camera statement, bro.
You missing?
That's like saying I have black friends.
You missing? No, but I want to shoot something on the iPhone, especially the new iPhones. I want to shoot something on them, the 17, right?
Okay.
Me's not the person where I go. I'm not gonna shoot on the camera there. Before I say that, I will see if the story can fit the camera, right? Yes, everything can shoot on everything, but some things can give you a look or a style depending on where you go for. We're talking about intent again, right? Not just me have this, me shoot. Well, where make up your face, Andre? Everything can shoot on everything. It's just what
I laughing no, because it's the reverse where everybody want the Aria Alexa here, but just because them hear about the Aria Alexa, that's what them want. It can shoot on a FX6, it can shoot on a FX3, it can shoot on a Blackmagic, but because Hollywood shoot on a Aria Alexa, everybody want the Aria Alexa. Question is, do they have their Aria Alexa budget?
No.
That's when the conversation
Not at the same time,
ends.
so don't. You know, and this is what differentiates.
Here. It's all about the nuance, bro. It's all about the nuance.
Yeah. Well, I guess, just saying, you don't really do a lot of DP jobs per se, no. But you still pick up the camera every now and then.
Yeah, man. Every now and then. Literally Saturday gone, like I had to do some videographer work. Vertical videos. Ended up using my Blackmagic full frame for that. But I don't have a problem shooting on anything in particular these days. If it's videography work or cinematography work, like it really doesn't matter to me. I just see every opportunity as a chance to either try something new or figure out some, which is what I said to you earlier, like if the situation calls for me to pick up my iPhone and shoot the whole thing on the iPhone, I'm going to try and find little tricks that I can do on the iPhone to make that project better. So, like, as you say, anything can shoot on anything to some degree, because, you know, some devices can shoot like low frame rates or whatever, but it really depends on the person, like how creative you want to get. Once you know the vision, like you just have to decide what you want to do. Like if you feel like you can take on this project and shoot it with your iPhone, sure. If you feel like you need the latest art to do it, so by all means go ahead, as long as we can find the money. So yeah, no, I'm completely fine these days shooting anything. Bills still need for pay, you know, life I get harder. One chicken now almost $2,000. Yeah, and as Randy said, like if you did up on a day where you not do nothing and somebody call you for shoot something, where you gonna skin up your face, you're gonna dead for hungry next week, you see me? So do we need for do?
Yeah. And I think, you know, I don't know if I can talk about our project. Jesse, I don't know if I can talk about that.
Vaguely.
Well, I'm working on something with Jesse, and one of the reasons why, as a matter of fact, I saw a post that he made on Instagram and reached out and said, yo, me there about, you know, if you want somebody for up, bro. You get me? I say, like, I know that is coming to fruition. So it's like sometimes it's not about the money. You see me? And this is advice to any young filmmaker who watch this now. Like, sometimes money is secondary to the reason for doing a job. You know what I mean? Because sometimes that job that you are saying yes to might not pay you right now, but the level of work that you're going to put in and the knowledge that you're going to get out of doing that job, whether it's a feature film, whether it's a documentary, whatever the case may be, you know what I mean, a commercial, say yes to it, especially if it's a level of work that you're achieving to get. You see me? Say yes to it, do it, get the experience, and then bring that forward. You know what I mean? You have something to put in your portfolio now. So that's basically what is going on right now. Like I'm saying yes to jobs that may not necessarily be something that financially pays me up front, but I see where it can pay me in experience. And that was something like inheritance. You see me? That literally inheritance was an experience job for me. Like me could have sit down in my yard and just do some videography jobs, but inheritance was a major learning facility for me. You see me? I say like working with alongside a cinematographer in the camera department and just learning, seeing him light scenes every day and you know um
For
different
those who don't know what
challenges might come up.
inheritance is, can you just tell us what it is?
True. So Inheritance was series, a TV series. It's a short TV series that I worked on earlier in 2025. And so that basically, I said yes to that project. I actually again reached out to the producer and say, this was like months before, you know what I mean? Before I even knew that the job was coming. I didn't know that anything was coming. I said to them, say, yo, this is what I want to do. I want to be a cinematographer. I need to learn from international people. I want their on set. I need to stand next to them and observe. Any position in the camera department, I will take it. Zine, and so I got a camera training position. Was it the most ideal financial situation? No, but the experience and the knowledge that I walked away with from that job is more than the pay that I got. You see me? I know I can take that into future jobs as well as the networking. I literally just got back from London a couple of weeks ago and had lunch with the cinematographer and them thing that the guy is now like a bridging to me. So now I don't know what can happen in the future. You see me? Where that relationship is concerned or other relationships from the crew, the international crew between the UK and Jamaica, what opportunities can evolve from that. So all this to say, we're wrapping up, but I wanted some last comments from you guys. For people who are watching the podcast or listening to the podcast, who are trying to decide based off this conversation and just like their own experiences, if they should go a videographer route or go cinematographer, what would be your advice to them in terms of what road to choose and how they should navigate it? And I want Winter to start.
I don't know. I think I don't know. I can't say that everybody that's a videographer wants to become a cinematographer full time. So I won't even talk about making a transition. It's just making sure that you have a standard, Like with whatever you do, have a standard and have a plan. I don't know if everybody wants to be a storyteller. Some people just want to have some cool shots and the back will fade out and gone in their room and then they say we transition to the room and that's just it for them. And that's what they do and it makes money and they're happy doing it. So everybody not necessarily want to do a cinematographer's job, and that's fine. But whatever you're doing, just keep doing it at that quality and keep just make sure that you're getting what you want. Whatever you can see in your head, just work towards getting that. I don't have anything else to say, really, because the world has changed, and whatever you think you didn't know, you realize, shit. So, things have changed so fast every day, So, that's just me. Yeah.
All right, Kevin, let's hear from you. What advice would you give to somebody who is, thinking about becoming either of the two or transition?
Why or transitioning?
Mm.
I would say, just study the craft as best as you can. The great thing about today's world is that not only is the equipment easily available to you and affordable, and you have a myriad of options out there, you also have a myriad of options for training, including YouTube, which is free. Um, but even beyond that, I would say get as much exposure as you can. Work with a lot of both videographers and DPs because there's something to learn from both of them. You know, work with as many as you can and work in different situations because one thing that I can say for sure, film wise, and it goes for videography as well, you're always going to learn something new because you're always going to book up something new on set. There's always a new challenge that you have to navigate. And as somebody said earlier, you know, it's problem solving. I think both videography and cinematography are problem solving, right? They're different, they're solving different problems, but yeah, you need to get that experience under your belt. It's don't get stuck just watching the YouTube videos over and over. Actually go out and shoot. And like Wentworth said, just shoot. Try to achieve what you want to shoot. You know, if you have a vision in your head or even a scene that you saw in a Netflix film and you say, oh, how do I get it to look like that? Go and experiment and do it. Don't get stuck watching YouTube videos trying to figure it out. Because, yeah, watching the YouTube videos are good, but at some point you need to actually get out there and actually
Practice.
shoot it. Yeah,
We're talking about practice. We're talking about practice? Practice.
practice,
Mr.
practice,
Richards.
practice.
Yeah, I don't think it's about, worrying at the early stages in the career. Don't worry about trying to be either or siloing yourself, as Kevin said. Go get out there and experiment. Go out there, learn your craft, learn your gear, learn this not just the technical skills and the creative skills, but learn the soft skills. As Denny said, networking, professionalism, understanding how to communicate. Invest those into your craft and then allow time to develop. And then at that point, when you've experimented enough, you can choose if you want to graduate into a cinematographer and a particular type of cinematographer, a particular type of visual language, or if you want to continue to be a videographer in the ever evolving, dynamics of what a videographer is. And that's okay. Just, hone your craft and don't make nobody shame you because you them want to call you videographer. Don't make nobody shame you. Your thing up.
Mm.
Yeah.
Way up. All right, Andre, what do you have to say?
Yeah, I think everybody has really, circled the answer. Unless you are able to sustain yourself as a full-time DP, if videography work is there available for you, take it. And as everybody has said, learn how to grow from it. Work on your skills. Soft skills is way more important, as important as the technical skills. So yeah, I think when at some point, yeah, you can decide to do both. Of course, if you are a videographer and you're not getting to cinematography jobs, create some of your own, or take some jobs just to work on your reel. That's one of the things that I thought about this year is that you take three type of jobs: one for your network, one for your bills, and one for your creativity. So, you know, if if it's free and it's serving your creativity, take it. Work on you, put it on your reel. If you're getting videography work and they're paying double your rate, don't don't be hype on that. You take that. Go pay your bills. Put some money into your business. So yeah, it's flexible, and I'm in Atlanta, and it's just as competitive. I'm not gonna 95% of the DPs here aren't just doing DP work, or they're not only doing narrative, they're doing commercials and music videos. And I mean, some of the biggest DPs, they do other work, they do outside of narrative too. So And I love that, Wentworth said it, take the skills that you learn from videography world. Although, like you say, they're better. Just take the skills that you learn and, apply it to other things and, continue just adding to your toolkit. And just be a better creative.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Jesse?
I would say focus on getting the best image, tell the best story that you can tell, learn all the tools, because at the end of the day, I feel like those are the core things that matter, no matter which side you choose to be on, whether you want to be a cinematographer or a videographer. Nobody can right click by your image on the internet and say they shoot it with a FX3 or a Blackmagic. And the truth is, nobody cares. Them just want to know so the image look good, the composition and the color nice, and that's it. Them are gonna move on to the next image. So yeah, just focus on those key things, and I think you should be fine.
Awesome. That's great advice. All right, Mr. ANOUVUE Collective. Bingy Ras.
My time.
Yeah, man, I hear your time.
Well, if you want to learn how to be a cinematographer, sign up for my $10,000 course, and I'll teach you how to make cinematic images. They'll make you $10,000 every month. Okay.
Cassie, go back here.
Yeah, man.
What I wanted to say earlier is this, which is good, and I don't think it's bad, but it can be bad. Everything is becoming democratic or whatever, democratized, and we have access to gear that we never had before, and we can do shots with having less skills. That you needed a lot of skills to do that shot earlier. Right now we have the Ronin 4D that you don't even need a steady cam anymore. You can just walk with that camera and do anything you want. You understand? And everybody's watching the same tutorial. Even us as cinematographers are kind of watching the same tutorials as the videographer or anybody that's up and coming. So everybody thinks they're shooting cinematic now, right? The word cinematic is now out of the window. Every time I hear somebody say cinematic, it's like somebody saying that video they look clean. It's just like, what does it mean, right? To me, everything is cinematic now. No matter what you shoot, you can shoot it off of your phone or anything. It's gonna be cinematic. The cinematic or cinema matches the story of what you're trying to tell. Zine. So point I'm trying to make is you can learn from many ways. A lot of these videographers, yes, they are cinematographers now. They are. They just don't call themselves cinematographer, or they're just doing videography work. You see what I say? But I believe it depends on what you want to do and what you like doing. There's people that like to do commercials and music videos and they don't want to do narratives, right? Like Wandering DP, he doesn't care to do narrative work. You prefer to live off of commercials and whatever else. And there's people like me that wants to shoot films. So I want to go local 600. You know what I mean? I want to win awards, right? If you don't care for that type of stuff, you can be a videographer. You can also care about that stuff and not go to that level. You can be a videographer. That means you can do everything that your heart wants. My heart want to shoot films, do TV shows and all of that. I know I have to be a cinematographer. I can still do videographer on the side, but I want to be a cinematographer, and that's the thing I see. You understand? That's the reason why I'm locked off from doing AC work, even though I can do it, and trying to pick up more, like Andre say, gaffer work that is in line with what I want to do, that can help me with what I want to do. So I come back saying, it's what you want to do, it's what you're interested in. If you care to do music video and then you can still be a cinematographer, but you can do videography. If you want to do another scope of work, you kind of have to go in the direction of where that scope to get that scope of work. So it depends on what you want to do, right? I don't think either is any better. You see me say, and everybody's learning. Everybody is skilled now. Like just saying, told me, go learn how to fly a drone. I should learn how to fly a drone. I just don't care for it. You see what I'm saying? But it's just true. I have a Ronin RS2 in my closet. I will not load that up and balance it for nothing because I don't care. But if somebody else come here, I will always tell them, hey, I have a Ronin S2. You can use it if you want with my Komodo. But I don't care. You understand? Some people just, the mind are just not there for that type of thing. So yeah, it's what you're interested in, go in that direction. You know what I say? Yeah.
Mad respect, man. This session was awesome. 2 hours and 11 minutes worth of goodness and nuggets. I think I don't really have a lot to add to that. I just, some things that really stood out is one, know your identity, know what you want, and setting goals for your future is very important. And follow your heart and your mind and go in that direction, as well as diversifying your skill set and income. You know what I mean? Andre, that 3 job thing was very, 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 very important and very good, I might add. So yeah, people, like if you're listening, just take all the inspiration from all these wonderful people who are very experienced in their own fields as directors, cinematographers, writers, and who gave such wonderful insight into the industry and also the difference between videographers and cinematographers. So give thanks to everybody who stick it out to the end. This is a whole feature length podcast right here. So if you manage to get to the end of this podcast and you're hearing my voice right now, give thanks. You deserve like a 2 bills digital credit or a flow credit or something. I don't or maybe
People want Starlink.
Starlink. Yeah, man, I don't know if we reach that stage where we can just deploy Starlink, or maybe Mark has a free spot in his 10,000 course you can get. So who knows, man? But give thanks everybody again for listening, and we'll see you in the next podcast. Scene. Bless up.
Big up.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for listening to the A New View podcast. Please do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want more information on today's episode, check the show notes below if you are on a podcast platform, or the description if you are on YouTube. See you next episode.